And just like that, as if shot from a cannon, the Hawaiian Pro is on. I'm Chris Cote. This is Ross Williams. We're in matching shirts. We're ready to have a post-show party.
We are.
We're going to get down to it. We're going to break it all down for all of you watching. But before we get to our Aloha-style jam, we're going to go down to Kaipo Guerrero on the beach with one more winner on the day.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, and the guys at the desk. You know what? We ended the day on a high note. 18.33 heat total, Mark Lacamar. That was the highest heat total of the day. Talk us through that heat.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just super excited. I thought it was going to drop this morning for the rest of the day, but luckily looks like we had a bump and the wind kind of came down for my heat and set started to show up a little bit more. So I was super hard to keep the nerve and try to focus. It's like a dream out there. We got those big walls. I've been waiting for this all year, so I'm super happy.
Well, we enjoyed the show, Mark. You were in the second heat this morning. You're in the last heat this afternoon. How do you maintain that focus throughout this long day?
Yeah, I just went back at the house, have a little snack, and watch the comp on TV a little bit, and try my other board, my new board, because I broke my board this morning, so I had to try a new one, a little bigger, and looks like it's going good, so I'm stoked.
Well, successful day and a productive day for Mark Lacamar because he's going into the round of 64 where he'll meet the top seeds. Let's check back in with the desk boys.
Thank you, Kaipo. And that's a way to start your day. That's a way to finish your day. Mark Lacamar looking strong. And, we had a lot of ups, a lot of downs. We're going to start with the ups, talking about the best waves of the day. Ross Williams, you and I were jumping out of our seats for a couple of these. 3 of the 4 best waves we have for you all came from the same heat, but we're going to start with Mark Lacamar, backhand looking lethal.
Yeah, you know what I love about having an event here at Haleiwa? There's just an emphasis on power, but it's not only about doing big rail turns or huge hacks. You have to have some agility as well. Haleiwa throws a lot of curveball sections at you, so you have to respond kind of with knee-jerk reflexes, and we've seen it all day, just a little north in the swell. So there's been some great waves, but you definitely have to be on your toes, Chris.
Now, did you see the potential as we started the day here? Some of the early heats kind of had slow moments, but then it seemed to be gaining momentum. And if you're a backsider today, we're in good company with people advancing and shredding. Ian Crane went nuts.
Yeah, Ian Crane really went to town. That's an interesting thing between regular footers, goofy footers. I tend to try to avoid getting caught up in that whole debate, but here's the thing. If you are on your backside out here, you're going to be not second-guessing what maneuver to choose. It's pretty much just that one backhand whip, so you get that decisiveness, which is good for Haleiwa. But this is what it's all about here. This wave, this was at the right tide. We were on this heat, Chris. Remember, it was high tide. This is Marco Giorgi from Uruguay. The waves laid down a little bit, so it was a little more user-friendly. The waves were open, and the boys kind of leaned on that inside rail better.
Dark horse threat, Luel Philippe, another surfer dropping an 8.77. One thing that was a constant on the day, power surfing. We only saw a handful of airs. Seemed like there was a few opportunities, but this is a really tricky wave to do airs when it's this size. In the past, some of the head-high days, of course, you never forget Dusty Payne and Julian Wilson out here blasting. Why weren't airs coming into play as much as we expected today?
Still just enough size for it to be kind of a sketchy move, because odds are if you're going to do a big air today, you're going to be hucking yourself out into the flats. So if you're 6, maybe even 8 feet in the air and you're trying to land your board out in the flats, odds are your ankle, your knee is going to pay the price. So probably a good thing not to go to the air today, maybe just a little smaller, and then we'll see the boys go to town.
Okay, I like it. I like what you're laying down here. Well, GoPro breakdown is always a favorite of any post show, and Dane Gudauskas is here for your pleasure to break down Haleiwa.
What's up? I'm Dane Gudauskas. We're down here at Haleiwa Beach Park for the first stop of the Vans Triple Crown, and this is the Hawaiian Pro. So Haleiwa is kind of located on the southern stretch of the 7 Mile Miracle. One of the cool things about Haleiwa is that when it's small, it's a great place for all the local groms to just go out and get a couple waves after school, but when it steps up to that big range, it really challenges the best in the world to go nuts. It's just heavy commitment, big motorboating right coming across the reef, and gosh, you have to be heavily committed to just get that score and just finish it on the dry reef toilet bowl section. So no shortage of fireworks. If it's small or huge, either way you go, it's gonna be a great show. You never know what you're gonna get. In the Triple Crown, it could be 1 foot or 20 feet, and you gotta be ready for anything. So Haleiwa is definitely a perfect example of you gotta be ready for anything. You gotta show up and give it your best.
The frothy one himself, Dan Gudauskas, giving us the GoPro breakdown. That's fun to have a session with Dan Gudauskas out here at Haleiwa. Another thing we use here is called trace-up technology. Basically, this is how we measure speed. We measure how far surfers are going. This is a cool piece that we can look at right here. This is Haleiwa trace-up, Ross.
Yeah, basically it's just it's a small device. You can stick it onto your surfboard, and it tracks with GPS, and it allows you to build up all kinds of cool stats that we would never even really pay attention to before. But what happens is there's a pattern, and you can see, okay, where are the boys taking off on a regular basis? You can see, okay, there's where the peak is. So you can see where the red is. That's where the most frequent takeoff spot is here at Haleiwa. And you know, that gives you an idea of like, okay, maybe I'm sitting too wide, I'm too deep, and you know, it's again, this technology is really allowing for these new stats to us.
Well, you know, we always, as surfers, like to have kind of markers on the beach, but as you can see right here, using this trace technology, I mean, that shows you the hot zones. That shows you kind of the averages. This is where the most takeoffs have happened throughout the day, and you know, the trace tech is just about that big. It's just a little piece that you put on your board, and so much information can come from that little piece of technology.
It's really cool to collect all your info when you're finished. You know, the radius of your turns, how fast. That's kind of the funnest thing about it, is you can see how fast you're going. Typically, you know, you see right around the mid 20, 25 miles an hour. Someone like Mick Fanning, maybe he's going 40 miles an hour, I don't know. But again, it's really fun to crunch all the numbers.
I've seen you break 30 out here at Haleiwa. Traceup.com is where you can find more information about that awesome technology. Now, as you can see behind us, seemingly getting a pulse in the swell here, Surfline is here for our forecast. Ross Williams, you check this spot nearly every day. Tell us what we're looking at here in the Surfline Tech forecast.
Well, we're just barely into wintertime here in the Northern Hemisphere, which is a good thing. You know, in the past, sometimes we've been kind of stuck in the weeds here, you know, just waiting for swell. That's not the problem this year, Chris. We got all kinds of energy heading our way. We just got dealt with a huge swell. Obviously, Maui was lit up yesterday. We got the leftovers today, which still is, you know, in a 10 to 12 foot range on the face. Tomorrow should be dwindling a little bit. Also, this swell direction a little bit more from the north-northwest, but check out the direction from the new swell. A little more favorable from the west-northwest. So maybe a little break tomorrow in terms of the energy in the ocean, but we're kicking right back into some serious surf. Watch the bump up right here for Monday, Tuesday. That's pretty solid, Chris. And again, what I'm so impressed with, great winds and better swell directions, and that Haleiwa is particular. It doesn't like too much north, so with that west-northwest, it should light up.
I would say Haleiwa among the most unpredictable venues for any surf contest. You really never know what you're going to get. You show up, even when it says 10 to 15 feet. There's a couple different examples of 10 to 15 feet out here at Haleiwa. You can have it very friendly. You can have it very scary. I know you've seen it all out here, Ross. Now, I always look forward to the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing because I know I'm going to get my favorite thing from Mr. Ross Williams. It's called Making the Cut. We got a show that you're going to be filming throughout the entire Vans Triple Crown. No spoiler alerts now because I know you're just doing your scouting report. What can we expect for Making the Cut 2016?
Well, you know, we all get wrapped up, and rightly so, in the world title race. But John kind of ruined that for us. He's already won the thing. So we're going to focus on who's going to, you know, seal their job on a championship tour this year. And it's only top 10 out of the qualifying tour that makes it to the big leagues, so to speak. So that's what we're going to break down. We're going to look at the bubble, who's in, who's out. And because Haleiwa and Sunset Beach are both offering 10,000 points, there's a lot of movement. You know, you got guys that think they're safe, and all of a sudden they bump down, and vice versa. So we're just going to put a magnifying glass on everyone.
All right. Well, I'm just going to throw it over there. Give me a couple names of just people who I'm going to look for online and make sure not to miss their heats.
Well, here's what's cool. You know, someone like Jeremy Flores, you know, he's had kind of a tough year on a CT, but he's been very smart, and he's backed himself up on a QS. he's got a 0 counting. You only take your best 5 results on a QS tour, and he's got a 0. So it's going to be really easy for him to cruise into the Triple Crown and grab that result he needs. On the other hand, you have someone like the Aussie Connor O'Leary, who last year was firmly in the top 10. And all of a sudden, Sunset and Haleiwa, he had bad results, and he's just shifted right down to the basement. So those are just a couple of names of how you'll see that movement happen.
All right, that's enough about making the cut, because we have a lot of shows to go through. We're super excited about that. Well, tomorrow morning, of course, bright and early here on the North Shore of Oahu, we're going to be on the beach. Marty Thomas is going to be spying through the darkness to make sure that the waves are here and they're good enough for us to run. We have the opportunity now to be pretty selective. I mean, it's pretty unprecedented to have the first day of the waiting period just bam, firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's true. So Marty, his job is going to be a little bit easier this time around. You know, this is pretty early in the winter season, but we saw 2 big swells on that surf line forecast that Marty's going to get to choose from. So I think we're going to see some quality Haleiwa this year.
And of course, you all at home will know the call because you have the WSL app, so you know when it's going to go. And before we let you guys go for the evening, wherever you are, we're going to send you home with some incredible highlights on the day. What an epic start to the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing. The Hawaiian Pro went off from start to finish, and here's proof. Take a look at these highlights. We welcome you, surf fans, to the beautiful North Shore of Oahu for this start of the 2016 Vans Triple Crown of Surfing.
Beautiful tail slide. That is extremely aggressive.
I'm blown away by that combination.
Look at that. That experience from Ricardo Christie. He loves coming to Hawaii.
You're sitting on a 9.67 and 8.5. He is having a blast.
Down a big one, Haleiwa.
This kid right here is used to putting that rail to work.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.